I'm a senior IT recruitment consultant, but my primary focus has been changed to building a relationship with our ratings clients. And I currently work with 3 leading pharmaceutical clients in Prague with their shared services.
That's right.
Yeah.
So we've already made a start into shared services. Cool. So just get started. Who is a line manager? If you put your hand up, please. Great. So quite a few. So today is going to be really helpful for you. What we're going to do today is, again, as Luke said, we're going to give you some training that's going to help you. These are kind of key interview techniques that we use in our day-to-day recruitment processes. It's going to help you to make sure that the people that you bring into your organization are going to be the best fit possible. As we talked about before with Mark, is that when you think about the whole recruitment process, think about all the CVs you're getting, all the interviews you need to schedule, interviews you need to attend, interview feedback you need to provide. Then hopefully from that process you get to find a candidate that actually you want to work with and they want to work with you. Then you need to organise onboarding, do the trainings, and then how long is it until they actually get started and are fully 100% productive like the person that they may have replaced. It can take quite some time. So what we're wanting to do today is, again, to make sure that that process for you has the greatest chance of success possible. So again, we're going to give you some tips. It's not all the tips that we have to give. Obviously, we're going to give you all the trade secrets, but hopefully it's something you can take away from today. So not many people probably know who NonStop Consulting is. So we are a specialist recruitment agency with a huge office in Prague, in Callisto, just down the road. We also have offices in London, in Brixen, in Italy, in Bordeaux, in France, and in Bucharest, in Romania. We have many other entities that we can also operate with. We work in specific industries and markets. So, as I said, Camilla said she works with Czech IT consultants and also now specializing more with shared services. We do a lot of work with other pharmaceutical clients across many different sectors, from sales to quality assurance, quality control, a whole range of things. So you may not have heard of us, but certainly our competitors have. We have 158 employees currently at the moment, and our turnover is going to hit around hopefully with 70 million last year. This year, probably a little bit less, but around 65. Now, what I wanted to also do to take this opportunity today is just to give you a bit more understanding of what services a recruitment agency can provide. I have touched on it in the past if you've attended any of my talks, but hopefully today you're going to get a bit more detail. And particularly with Camilla, we're going to talk quite in depth around labor leasing. So I think it will be something quite interesting for you. Obviously, it's worked well for some of our clients here in Czech Republic. So the first one is permanent, bread and butter that we tend to do. Obviously, we're a big headhunting company, so again, permanent recruitment is somebody has a full-time position, and we're obviously looking to fill that position for you. Temporary freelance, so these can be individuals that have their own company, and they're providing services into that company. Usually it's a three-party relationship between us, the agency, who pays the worker, the freelancer, and between us and the client. But as a freelancer providing services into that client, so that can be very much for specialist roles. Again, great for if you've got maternity covers, projects in particular, brilliant way of being able to engage a professional person who obviously has their own company and willing to provide services, not just your company, but can be for other ones as well at the same time. Labor leasing, as I said, that is something that Camilla is going to come into a lot more detail shortly. And then RPO is probably something you're not so familiar with. So recruitment process outsourcing is what we have there. This means is that we as an agency, we will do all the service for you. So it can be that you're a company, you've got your own career sites on your internet page, but you don't have the administrative resources to help manage and deal with that, with the vacancies that you have in your company. So we have one big client in France that we do this for, and another one actually who's attending here today out of Belgium. We're also doing some work with it at the moment around RPO. So we are the ones really taking all the job adverts, doing some of our own job ads ourselves, responding to them, managing the interview process, all that basic thing that we normally do for our clients. But the difference is the fees. So with an RPO, it's a fixed monthly fee. So again, a great way for you to be able to manage your budgets. Whereas for a permanent one, we do a success fee, and usually it's a percentage of the salary. So again, it can be a good scenario again if you're short of staff in your company for doing talent acquisition. Also, you want to have some perhaps better skilled people, let's say, helping you in that process. RPO is a good offering for you. And finally, MSP. Not something we tend to do, but MSP is where you actually have one agency working with all your other agencies, but managing and funneling all that process for you. We tend to work with that more with freelancers, so again, they will help to kind of payroll all of your workers. So some of you might be familiar with that. Some big companies like Hayes in particular, Manpower, they do offer these services as well. We can, we just don't have the moment. So hopefully that gives you a bit more flavour in terms of different offers that the agencies can actually provide. And now, I'll throw it over to Camilla to talk about labour leasing.
Alright, so have you ever heard about labour leasing before? No? Alright. So I'm going to explain it quickly. So it's actually like a staffing solution where employees are hired by us, by the agency, and they are assigned to a client. So it usually works like that we are responsible for all the documentation, all the medical checkups, background checks, HR activities, legal activities as well. And we as an agency, we hire the employees and they are assigned to a client. So there are like many benefits which you can encounter as well. And the one is that you don't need to have a headcount for the worker. So if you're looking for a new staff, so you don't need to create a headcount for it and increase the headcount. So this is like very good for long commitment as well, and also it could be good for seasonal projects, maternity covers, immediate needs which can appear on the market as well. Then the next one is variable versus fixed cost, which is very interesting, we believe. And with the labor lease, companies can actually convert labor costs into variable expenses rather than the fixed costs. And they are not committed to fixed salaries for the permanent employees. And basically, companies pay for the staffing services.
So I think sometimes with this as well, again, back to my accounting hat on, is that in people's budgets, usually these appear in different areas. So you might have your fixed headcount, which again might be concerned by either number or also the value of the headcount. But with this, sometimes you usually come into some different budget lines. So some companies are a little bit more interested in this, that gives them that flexibility of being able to hire staff to fulfill the needs without having to be overcoming the constraints they have within their current budgets.
Yeah, exactly. As I mentioned before, if you can go to the next one, it's also offer a lot of flexibility. So it helps companies to adapt to changing market demands while accessing to the right talents at a time. So if the company really needs to hire for 6 months any worker, so they can do it through this one while maintaining the employee as being an employee, not a freelancer, because it's also very important for them. Also, there is admin and onboarding being done by us, by the agency. So we are actually responsible for all the onboarding sessions, as I mentioned before, the medical checkups, background checks, and also it depends on the client needs, will they require to have it. in the process. So it could be very flexible as well in terms of the additional admin stuff.
Cool. There are some more important things as well to kind of talk on that in addition to what Camilla said, and that's also some of the relationships you have. So under labor leasing is that there exists an employee-employer relationship. That does not exist with freelancers. If you have an employee-employer relationship and you're a freelancer, you're kind of delving into false employment. And obviously there are issues with taxes and social charges and all of that. So labor leasing can give you that flexibility with freelancers, but in a more controlled and compliant way. And that's obviously something that some of the clients enjoy and benefit from, particularly in Germany and Switzerland, where we see a lot of work and demand for that. Also for me, again, I think because I'm a finance director and I want to see money, is it does also provide you that variability of cost in terms of managing expectations and managing the work that's being performed. If we have a labor lease contract, it is not the same for you as a client if you have an employee-employee employment contract. Yeah? Because the agency is the employee. So we will structure the contracts so it is based on work performed. So if they don't do the work, you don't pay for it. We also don't pay for it too. Okay? So there can be a huge benefit. If the person doesn't work out, normally with probation periods, you find that out 4 or 5 months later, probation periods being 3 months, you're kind of stuck with that person unless you want to go through the whole difficult process of going through disciplinary processes to actually help to move them on their way. Now, with labor leasing, you don't have to deal with that. If the person doesn't work out for you, and the need for you as a client no longer exists, you cancel the contract. Yeah? Obviously, there'll be a notice period within there, but it's not the 3-month notice period that you have to deal with regards to the employee-employer relationship you have to deal with. So it's probably not something I'm so familiar with, which I think, again, based on the work that Camilla's been doing with 3 large medical companies here in Czech Republic, but also what we do with a very large social media company in Switzerland, some other companies in Germany as well in the pharma sector, it does give them a great deal of flexibility. Yeah? As long as we can provide them the services, we find the employees that are willing to do this type of service for you. It helps you to be able to manage your costs much more effectively, but also the work that you need them to do as well. Do you guys have any questions with regards to labor leasing? Yes? We need Luke.
On the way. It's eyes to throw this thing. Ready? Good catch.
Just the question is regarding this relationship. But when you are recruiting an employee by yourself, it always comes to some fundamental questions. As well, here is accounting and admin growth. These are quite restricted roles. How you are dealing with that?
Do you answer that one?
Could you please repeat it because I didn't catch it.
I can probably answer most of it for you, so we can save some time. So you as a client will still interview the candidate. Okay, so it's not a case like some temping is like, well, all right, just give me a person. Yeah? You still have the right to be able to interview the person and find a person that's good for you. With regards to any confidentiality, obviously we can sign NDAs to help to give the clients comfort with regards to what data they are processing, any other information that we're sharing as well. Does that answer it? Amazing. Dave. Sorry, good in the hall.
Where is he?
Yeah.
Okay.
No.
Here.
Yes.
That's better.
Couple of months into the leasing arrangement, you decide that you really like the person you're leasing, and you want to hire them full time.
Yes.
What sort of negotiations happen at that point with you?
Wonderful question. It's actually in our contract. So we will have a temp to perm fee within our contract. So obviously that's, again, it's a good idea because, and it's a great question because it might be a good opportunity to find out if you really want to work with that person on a longer term engagement without having that commitment. And if obviously you find that person, then you simply need to notify us as the agency, hey, we really like this person and we need to take them on board. Now, we as an agency obviously want to get some money out of that too. Because we operate on margin, so we charge you, we pay the worker, and the money that we earn from that relationship is a margin of a difference between. So I as a finance person love it because we have ongoing committed revenue, but obviously in order to forego that, it's going to come at a cost. So again, we will have a temp to perm fee, which again we can negotiate, or it's quite fixed within our contract.
Just an added point on this actually. I think one thing, that is a great idea, and some candidates do appreciate to perhaps be offered a permanent position after freelancing. But what a lot of situations you'll find is that freelancers are freelancers because they like the flexibility. So sometimes it's actually more common that they would want another freelance contract rather than going permanent. It happens, but I don't think it's hugely common from what I see.
But also, we do have freelancers or people in this situation that have been working with us for years too. So it's going to vary, but it's a valid point by Luke. Some people actually do quite like that flexibility. But again, it's a conversation, obviously, between the clients and us as an agency, but then also with the candidate as well in terms of what their needs are, which we're going to talk about today, aren't we, Luke?
We are.
We are. It's a nice segue. Any other questions?
Yeah.
Yes?
Yeah.
What's the average time for hiring or providing the proper candidate for the position? So do you have some pool of candidates which might be suitable for, say, going for the interview right away?
Sure. Yes. Again, it's going to depend. It's going to depend on what the role is, what our experience is within that. But obviously, any good agency, including ours, will make you aware of what degree of talent pool that we have. But I'm going to come on to that actually, I think, next. To maybe explain a little bit in terms of how, agencies and why we operate and how we can deal with that.
You ready?
All right, last one.
Nice.
Do you have an SLA to provide a candidate for a role, and can you be held responsible for that, being able to provide the person?
Okay, so I couldn't quite hear the last bit, but the SLA, no, and I'll come back to that as to why. But it will also depend on the client and depend on the relationship we have. Typically, no, but again, I'll explain why. But if there is like an ongoing commitment in a relationship with the client, then obviously SLAs can be in place. Right, so we don't get too delayed, I'll crack on. And come into a bit of the things that were answered just before. So why work with an agency and what drives us? Again, whether we do RPO, labor leasing, freelance, or permanent positions. We're obviously based on fees as how we operate. Again, something like EBITDA, which I love. So for us, we are motivated by achieving that fee. If we can't do that, our business does not survive. Recruitment is an incredibly competitive environment. We are not just, if you have a job vacancy open, it may not be the case if you're just working with one agency. You could be working with many, and particularly with some of the jobs that we deal with, particularly the very competitive ones in the UK and Switzerland, we're competing against many other ones. So for us, coming to SLAs, if we are not there with the best candidate first, we lose. So it is our need in order to make sure that we have the best pool of candidates, that we can work that job as quickly as possible. Because if we don't achieve the fee. Okay? It is unfortunately as simple as that, because it is just so competitive. And of course, who are we going to want to work with if you're working with an agency? Are you going to work with someone who's going to give it to you in 24 hours, or one who's going to give it to you in 2 weeks? Of course, you're going to work with one who's going to give it to you in 24 hours. Now, that's just actually getting someone started, but obviously quality comes back into our rebates, which we want to avoid. So within our terms and conditions, particularly with our permanent positions, we have rebates which are kind of staggered across the probation period. The longer they stay, the lower the rebates, the shorter they stay, the higher the rebates. So obviously we want to avoid that, which means that we want to give you the best possible person to be able to start and work with you, hopefully much longer than the probation period. And a lot of that is what we're going to talk about with Luke today, in terms of how do we actually find that kind of person for you. If we do a good job, you want to work with us again, whether it be through the quality of the person or the speed in which we deliver to that company client as well. It's in our best interest to want to work and build relations with clients and provide them with the best talent as quickly as possible so we can grow our business and actually just keep the business going. And also what you probably don't know is that our consultant agents, including Camilla, she gets commission. So her financial success is based on her work success. So she is actually personally motivated to want to provide you with the best person possible, because she in turn is financially rewarded quickly for being able to do that. Okay, and obviously she wants to avoid the rebates, because if rebates come in, actually her commissions gets reduced. Sorry. That's again. So these are some other reasons perhaps you're not so familiar with in terms of why you might want to use agencies, and also in different ways. Hopefully, you have a better understanding, particularly with the labour leasing. Or RPO maybe something you've not been thought of or familiar with. So hopefully, you get to learn a little bit more about that now. And if I'm not mistaken, I'm done. I am.
Thank you. I'm going to do some throwing. Great. So, one thing that we wanted to do with this presentation workshop is make it nice and interactive and give you guys a little bit of a taste of our recruitment training, and hopefully give you some really easy, actionable things that you can go away and do in your recruitment processes. I saw quite a few hands up when we did the shout for line managers earlier. So this one's for you guys. When you're interviewing candidates, when you're getting advert responses through, we're going to give you some strategies you can implement to make sure you get the right people in, the people that are going to stay. Okay? So I think Mark spoke a lot earlier about retention. These are some strategies, bits and pieces that you can do right away in order to help with getting the right people in and making them stay. So we're going to start off by talking about a fairly simple concept, hopefully, called needs gathering. So needs gathering, who can maybe give me an idea as to what we mean by that in a recruitment context? Just throw your hands up and then Lee can come and chuck this thing at you.
I'm a good thrower.
Don't be shy.
Throw.
On the top. There you go.
Both financial needs and also fit to their personal life, personal commitments, family, children, that sort of thing.
It's
Great.
exactly. Yeah, people often have lots of different needs. Now, from all the line managers that put their hands up earlier, be honest, how many of you are really trying to get to the bottom of what the candidate's needs are in those interview processes, in those conversations? Nobody? You do? Okay, good. All right, there's a few hands. Don't be shy, guys. Let's get involved. Good. So, needs gathering, hugely important thing to help with this attention to get the right people in. So, who can give you some questions that you might ask if you're trying to needs gather and find out what your candidate's really driven by? What could you ask them? Get some hands up. Good catch.
What do you need in order to be happy at work?
Great, yeah, I like it. What do you need in order to be happy at work? It's a nice open question. Okay, they can speak as much as they want about that. That's perfect. Any other ideas? Yeah, down here.
So we usually ask, and maybe my colleague, we usually ask two kinds of questions. Like, what is the environment that you see yourself working in? What are the expectations to that?
Mm-hmm.
And second one is, what is your expectation with the leadership?
Okay.
So that's what we try to clarify.
Nice, I really like that. Yeah, the environment at work, very important. And what you're expecting from leadership. I love it. Any other ideas? Yeah? Again, down here? More ideas? Okay, great. Okay, good. So there's a few little questions to get us started, right? So if you're not using these types of questions, some great ideas from the audience already. So So one metaphor that we use at NonStop to really help our new recruitment consultants get to the bottom of what's important for people is peeling the onion. Sounds a bit weird, right? But weird metaphors usually tend to stick. This is what we like. So what we mean by peeling the onion, onions obviously have many different layers, much like people, okay? So what someone tells you, this initial verbal layer, is often not what's really important. We have to dig a little bit deeper. We need to figure out what their reasoning is. What's making them believe that? And only then can we really get to the core and truly understand what's motivating that person. We'll run through a bit of an example in a second, but does anyone have any ideas of what questions you could ask to do what we call probing in order to peel the onion? Let's say somebody has told us that they really want to be a manager. Okay? What could we maybe ask to probe and start peeling off some layers of this onion? There's a hand up over there. It was a half a hand. We'll count it.
What is actually motivation to become a leader or a manager?
Perfect. Yeah. What lies behind that? What is the motivation to become team leader? Good. Any other ideas? What other questions could we ask? Don't be shy. Ah, at the back. Yeah.
Which one?
Yeah. That's going to be a tester. Good throwing.
Oh, sorry, I'm just
Why do you think you will be a good man?
Why do you think you'll be a good manager? Yeah, okay. So why is actually a really powerful question. Why is something... It's only 3 letters. Just 3 letters, but it's super, super powerful, super important. And you go away with one thing, go away with this question. Why? Digging a little bit deeper, peeling back the layers of the onion, and you'd be surprised what some people say. You'd be surprised what lies in there sometimes.
So also, does anybody obviously done like lean training, and there's a 5 whys concept? You know, they have me to ask the question why, in order to get to the root cause. Actually, is a great way of taking a process-orientated method and then bringing it into your recruitment interview. It's actually the same concept.
Yeah, we're not analysing the process, we're analysing the person. We really want to understand what's behind what they're saying. So I'm going to give you another metaphor now. We're going to develop the onion metaphor a bit more. So often when we're speaking with someone, we might understand that they want to be a manager and they want to be a manager for whatever reason it might be. But people are rarely motivated by just one thing. Okay? Instead of a candidate just having one onion, think of it as if they have a bag of onions. You can't see into this bag. Okay? What you've got to do is you've got to go in and you've got to grab and get as many onions out of there as you can, hopefully until you completely exhaust that bag and peel each one. Okay? From my experience, and I do a bit of recruitment as well as training, there's usually 2, 3, maybe even 4 really key important motivators for people as to why they might want to change position and what they're going to be looking for from that next position. So we have a great question to help you with this. First of all, why? We touched on that. Another great question is what we call the OR question, AWE. It's the OR question because, again, you're going to be sometimes very surprised as to what might come out of it. So we're simply asking, and what else is important to you in a new position? And what else is motivating you to go for this next job? And we can really use those 2 questions almost side by side, and what else is important to you, and why? And what else is important to you, and why? To exhaust this bag of onions to make sure we've got them all out and we've peeled them all. And then we can truly start to get to the bottom of, is this person going to be a good fit? And are we going to be a good fit for them? This is what's going to help with your retention statistics. This is what's going to make sure you've got the right person in the right job. So let's run through a little bit of an example. And again, we're going to make this interactive. So we're going to start out with, somebody's just told us they're only interested in manager roles. So, what could be a reason for this? Let's try somebody that hasn't spoken yet. Go on, Lee, just throw it.
Oh, actually, I'll pass it.
We're going to keep you on your toes.
Right, so that is a very good question actually.
Like, what is the reason why the person would love to be the manager, apply the manager role?
Exactly, yeah. What might be a reason why someone would tell us this?
Well, maybe he's or she, they've got like people skills, and that's where they feel most comfortable with.
Perfect, great.
And it's all about the experience of that role, and then helping all the people that you take care of to develop, I guess. So it's more of not the role itself, but more of the person who wanted to be that manager, and then more of helping out the others. That's how I would understand that.
Great. It's a really good example. Perfect. Thank you very much for contributing. Let's try somebody else now who can think of a different reason why someone might tell you they're only interested in manager roles. Yeah. Good catch.
Yeah. So I would take it from a different angle. That could be that people are thinking that manager has the best life and leading people is the easiest job, which isn't.
Okay.
Or there are some people who are looking for promotion, maybe, and in the current company they cannot grow, so they are looking for different company. And if I take it from the negative angle, there are also unfortunately some people who are like business title seeker or salary seeker.
Yeah. Each to their own, definitely. Yeah, good. Anybody else? Yep, down here.
Maybe it can be the funny one now. In case they had some issue with their previous managers and they just think they can make it better.
Sure, yeah, why not? Why not? Definitely. Anybody else? Another one, yeah, down here. I like this row. You guys are contributing a lot. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Nobody's gonna look for money or?
There we go. Yes, money, right? So, yeah, another one.
What is your understanding of what a manager does?
Okay, so you would ask them to, first clarify. Yeah, I like it. Perfect, yeah. Ask them questions, gives you more information. Information is power. Good, so you've all given us quite a few different examples there. So really, I wanted to make that point to illustrate how important it is to ask these questions. If you stopped at face value, they just want to be a manager, it could be based on anything. It might be based on the development. It might be based on the career progression and wanting to have a better title. But in this case, it's based on money. Good job. You called it. So the reason managers are paid more where they are. Okay, this is based on a belief, right? Their belief now is that only manager roles pay well enough. The core reason they want to be a manager is because they've got an expensive mortgage, right? And they want some money to spend. So we have to ask these questions, we have to probe, we have to go through these different steps. And what you might find is when you get to the end and when you really understand what's at the core of that person's onion, you might be able to come up with some solutions which weren't what they initially said. Who can think of a solution to this person's core that's not a management role? Hands up. Yep. So we might not need to offer them a management position at the end of the day. So we've gone from thinking they will only take a management role to now understanding that, hey, they may even accept a senior specialist role or something else. We've really understood that candidate. We're able to offer them something then which is going to satisfy their needs and keep them employed in your business. Okay, and this is something that's really crucial to do throughout the hiring process. This is something that we do at NonStop all the time to make sure that we're matching the candidate's needs with what the job actually offers, and not just on face value, not just on the verbal layer of the onion, based on what's actually inside that onion. Make sense? Questions?
I'm quite worried that after this, the feedback's going to be they really like onions.
You know what? I was actually thinking of bringing a bag of onions. I thought that might be too much. I don't know.
You could just bring them in the audience.
Yeah. Okay, so I'll be honest with you. Candidates don't always play ball. Okay, sometimes they're going to give you some answers which are a bit more generic. So we're going to test to see how you guys can do in terms of handling some of these generic answers. So when a candidate says to you, I want a fresh challenge, how could you respond as hiring managers looking to put them in the ideal position? Hands up. Someone different.
What they're actually expecting from the challenge.
Perfect. What do you expect from a challenge? What do you mean by challenge? Next one. They're looking for innovative products. Who can help us handle this one? Hands up. Don't be shy. Go on, Lee, pick someone.
Sure, we're not stumped. We'll try this one. Here we go.
Okay, actually, it would be the same. What means innovative product? Actually, what do
Good.
you have any idea or suggestion? What is innovative product?
Perfect, yeah. What kind of innovative products? Also, think about our three-lettered powerful question, why? Could be a really interesting question to ask here. Why are you interested in innovative products? What is it about innovative products that interests you? Next one. They're looking for an international company or international environment. We hear this a lot. What would you say to this as hiring managers? What would you ask somebody? Yeah?
I think here would be a good opportunity to test their knowledge, how much research they've done into your company. So you can find out, tell me more about our operations, how many countries we are operating from, and sort of deep down into the product side as well.
Okay, yeah, cool. Makes sense. Yeah, so why have you applied to us? If you're interested in an international company, what's brought you here? Good, I like it. I want to grow my career. Again, people say this all the time. Very cliche. Who can help me out and come up with a response to this one? What's your end goal? Yeah, where are you trying to get to? What do you mean by growth? What is growth for you? Right, we've seen from the previous example, it can be completely different for someone or someone else. It might be all about money. It might be all about status and career, job titles. It might be about developing themselves. You have to ask the questions to understand why. More responsibilities. Okay, it could be more responsibilities are you looking for? Okay, so now we're going to jump into a little bit of a practice session. So we've given you some questions and things you can think about, some things you can put into practice. So now you're going to do that with Lee here.
So I'm a candidate. You know. I am applying for a senior credit controller position. I'm currently just a credit controller. I have 8 years experience. I've worked at a few different employers over the last few years, and I want you to interview me to work out my motivations. Okay. Pay attention, obviously, to the position I applied for and the one I've got now. What might be driving that?
So throw your hands up and have a crack at asking Lee some questions. We want to try and really understand him as a candidate, what's driving him, where are his onions, what's at the centre of them.
Okay, it's a different company. It's a good question, actually. Probably should have thought that myself. Anybody? Why I'm looking for a new role? So I'm looking for something to give me a bit more challenge. I want to grow my career, and currently I've not been getting so much of the opportunity in my current employer. So I like some more responsibilities, but really I'm kind of looking for some growth. I want to get to a point where I like to be a team leader and grow into being a manager role into the future. I've actually been doing training already, so I've done a number of trainings already with my current provider. I've also done some LinkedIn training on the side as well. Well, that depends on the job you're going to offer me. Alright, that's a good question. So, I am very social. I like to work with people. I particularly like coaching. I've had the opportunity to be able to coach with some people before. It's the trainings that we brought into the team. I felt that's gone really well. I really enjoyed that process, and I'd like to be able to do that more. And I particularly want to now start to have my own team at some point and be able to work with them and grow and bring something together.
Okay, good so far. So we've learned that Lee's looking for progression, right? He's looking for a team lead position. Do we know why? Do we know what's at the core of this onion?
I wanted to mainly pay. Being able to move into different companies was able for me to be able to grow into my pay grade up a little bit higher. Very good question. We're coming to later sessions. So if you have career path progression for me to be able to help to grow my career and have a support mechanism to help me to achieve that, I'm down. You're still not asking why. I've done some, but I think we still need to get to the core.
Yes, we're trying to really understand what's motivating Lee here. Okay? It's great to understand his experience, we definitely want to do that as well. But right now, we really want to understand the reasons, the core reasons that are behind his needs. Right? What's really motivating him? It might be something in his personal life, right? It might be something going on. We need to dig a little bit deeper to truly understand it so we can truly help him and offer the right solution, make sure we've got the right match for the job. Is the guy at the back with his hand up, Lee?
Yeah. Why would you call you to be a senior in Florida, and why do you want to apply this position?
So again, I'm really looking forward to increasing pay. So at the moment, the inflation's gone up by 10%, my salary's only gone up by 6%. I'm really been trying to find something to help close the pay gap. Sorry? Correct. I still don't think we couldn't get into the core though. So guys,
Why do you need more money?
exactly. Why do I need more money? That's exactly the kind of question we're trying to look for. Absolutely. Yeah, absolutely. You're trying to test my motivations, yeah? And if you don't know that, then you don't know what's going to motivate me. If you can provide financial rewards, maybe there's a good bonus scheme in place. Great. Again, maybe there's you've got meal vouchers or some other form of benefits. But what you've not asked is, again, why? So I've just got married, very old ring, but pretend to me. And I'm looking to start a family with my wife. I need more money in order to help to support that. Yeah. That is the core reason.
Okay, great. Any other questions to try and understand Lee and this candidate further? Yep.
Okay.
Well, I would say if you're trying to make sure that you fit this person in the right job and really try and understand the candidate, then yes. I mean, they don't have to tell you. But we do this as a recruitment agency because we really want to make sure that we make the right match. And I think this is a big difference from what I've seen from recruitment agencies and internal recruitment. We want to go the extra step. We really want to make sure we get that person the right job. Perhaps it's because we have many different jobs that we could offer them. So we actually have a bit more choice, perhaps. But for you guys, there's lots of candidates out there. You need to make sure you get the right one. So going a step deeper, probing further, is what's going to help you make the right choice. And I will say, it is uncomfortable doing it. When you're not used to asking these probing questions, it feels weird, right? It feels wrong. It feels intrusive. Okay, but you need to do that in order to make the right match. It's up to the candidate if they want to answer it or not. And you can explain it and say, look, we're just trying to make sure we can offer you something that's going to be a real match for you.
So how would you treat that money-driven candidate, and what would be your answer?
Sorry.
So how would you treat that money-driven candidate, and what would be your answer? Because from my understanding, the money-driven the candidates, they most probably would not be perfect fit because the only thing they want is just cash. So how we.
But I didn't only go about money either.
This is the first onion we pulled out of these back, right? There could be other things that are motivating. And money is obviously usually a motivating factor for most people, unless they're maybe working at a charity or something, I don't know. But it's rarely the only one, and it's very rarely the biggest one as well. There's usually much more important things that we want to discover and speak more about. Money is just one of those topics, and one of those topics we can drill into to try and help someone.
And I think with this as well is that you need to also understand, you don't have to do this all the time for every candidate. You might want to do it for the ones that you're really interested and you really want to secure. And it's helping you to make the decision, is that candidate someone who actually really wants to work for us? Are we really making that good match? And it's helping you to make that decision. Do you want to progress them through into the interview process or not?
So I think we spoke about money enough, but there was another question when I was speaking about the bag of onions that you can use to uncover other onions from the bag. Does anyone remember what that question was?
No.
And what else? And what else, Lee? And what else is important to you in this next position, this next venture?
Happiness.
Happiness. Oh, good.
Oh God. I think we've had to be questions, haven't we? Happiness for me.
Well, it is in finance, right?
Oh, that's true, yeah. Happiness for me is to be able to build a nice, strong support base for my family. I'm quite happy. In my personal life. But in this position, obviously not, because I've made the decision to resign, or I'm willing to resign from my position, and I'm now looking for a new position. So obviously I'm not too happy. And why? For all the reasons I just mentioned. Move on.
Yeah, okay, good. So we're going to talk about another strategy you can use. I'm interested actually, can we maybe get a show of hands? Who's heard of pre-closing? Who knows about pre-closing already?
Maybe you could be familiar with salespeople.
No? Okay, basically no one. Alright, cool. So pre-closing is a strategy that we employ in order to get commitment from people. Okay, it's really useful in a recruitment process for many reasons, which we'll come on to in a second. But what we're going to talk about is what pre-closing is, what's going to be important for you, and how to do it crucially. So let's get another show of hands. Who's experienced somebody not doing what they expect them to in a recruitment process? Maybe they drop out of an interview, maybe they decline an offer. A couple down here putting their hands up. Yeah, lots of hands, I'm sure. So pre-closing is the strategy that you can employ to help mitigate, or let's say reduce, these nasty surprises as much as possible. And I will say again, it's maybe a little bit of an uncomfortable one. If you're not used to pre-closing people, if you're not used to applying the strategy, it might feel a little bit weird. Why would it feel weird? Well, we're trying to get commitment from people. And anyone that ever maybe organised a Facebook event and got a ton of maybe responses will probably be pretty used to how that feels. People are very comfortable sitting on the fence. Okay? Yes and no answers are a little bit more rare. We've got a lot of maybes. Okay? And these maybes don't really help us, do they? We're trying to organise a Facebook event, book a table for people. Right? You're trying to organise your birthday party, you want to book this table in a restaurant, you get 10 maybes back. You don't know whether you're booking a table for 5 people or 15 people. Okay? So pre-closing is the strategy and the questions you can employ to get people off the fence. The other reason I was alluding to earlier it's a bit uncomfortable asking these questions as a recruiter, as a hiring manager as well. So you've got people who don't really want to get off the fence, and you've got hiring managers and recruiters that don't really want to ask these questions because it's uncomfortable. And that's why we end up with situations where candidates drop out of interview processes, they decline offers, and we have these nasty surprises that we really want to avoid. So I'll give you an example of pre-closing. If I jump off this stage now, will you catch me? Yes? Really? Are you sure? No, you're not going away. Okay, so I won't jump off the stage. I know now that's not a commitment that I want to make. You need to say yes, I might try it. I don't know. So this is what pre-closing is all about. It's asking those yes or no questions to get a decisive answer and to have more confidence in the result. So what are some benefits to asking these difficult questions? What do you guys think? Throw some hands up. How's it going to help you by knowing someone a yes or a no? Good. We get a straight answer. Now, how does that straight answer help us? Right? Exactly. In the birthday party context, I can book that table. Let's take it into a recruitment context. Let's think about what that's going to mean for you as a hiring manager. Okay, you're able to know if someone's a yes or a no. What's it going to do for you? Better for decision making. Yeah? If you know someone is never going to accept an offer no matter what you do, you don't need to interview that candidate. You don't need to go through the whole process and have a surprise at the end. You've saved yourself a huge amount of time. Okay, you reduce the back and forth. You save those resources. What else? You move the conversation further. Yeah, you move the conversation forward. Okay, you have some defined parameters now. Okay, you know a little bit better, perhaps what that person might accept in terms of an offer. You know maybe what you should be offering them in order to get them to accept. So let's run through some of these benefits quickly. The point is not working. There we go. So less stress, much less stress actually. If you know what people are going to say, you're not going to be worrying about it. No more sleepless nights. We spoke about saving time, reduces that back and forth. It's actually part of just being a good professional and offering good customer service in a lot of ways. And actually, it requires little extra effort. These questions that we're going to start playing around with, they're very simple questions. They're a bit uncomfortable, but they're very simple. But Lee, I think we're going to do a quick example.
We are.
So let's paint a picture a little bit. Let's say you're a candidate. It's in a process. I'm a hiring manager. Let's say we've maybe had an interview already, but we're getting towards the final stages. Okay, so what I want to do is I want to make sure this candidate is really committed. So, Lee, I know we spoke earlier about your salary and travel expectations. You're looking for, I think, 50k if I remember rightly, and looking to travel no more than 30 minutes. And you'd be able to start in 2 months' time. Is that all still correct? Have I got that right?
Yeah, I think so. It sounds quite reasonable about what we've been discussed before.
Right, you sound a little bit unsure. Why is that?
I'm just kind of keeping my options open and looking to see what else is out there at the moment. So I think I can probably get something more.
Right, okay. Okay. So do you have some other interview processes and things going on?
Yeah, I just had a final interview with one company.
Right.
Around 55,000 euros a year. And it's about 45 minutes commute.
45 minutes, but pays a little bit more. So it's further away.
Pays more. Yeah.
Pays a bit more. Okay, so let's say in a hypothetical world, you get both these job offers, ours and its competitors. What are you going to pick?
It's a bit hard to say, but I'd probably go for the shorter one. The one with the lower, that's less commuting. I really hate commuting.
You really hate commuting. Okay, so even if we were to offer you a little bit less, because I think our budget is maybe up to about 50,000, you'd still choose our offer.
Probably.
Probably. What make that definitely?
Well, I think if I know that there's a future earning potential there to be able to get to 55,000 at some point in the near future, then I'll probably look to take it.
Okay, so we could guarantee that you'd be earning 55,000 within the next 12 months. Would you be prepared to accept the other offer?
Then that's a no-brainer.
Okay, great. And obviously, as we're getting towards the later stages now, I'm imagining you're going to have a conversation at some point if you accept an offer to hand in your notice and resign.
Yeah.
How do you imagine you're going to take that, do you think?
Probably not so well.
Is there anything they can do to tempt you to stay?
Probably offer the same thing. You know, if they can offer me on the same salary and the same career path progression, which they've kind of failed to deliver on so far, then I'd probably have a tough decision to make.
Yeah, it's a tricky one always, but I mean, once you've gone and handed in your notice, it's usually best to make the jump and move. Because do you really think you're going to be first in line for a new promotion or a new pay rise once you've already shown that you're maybe looking to move elsewhere?
Definitely not. They're quite vindictive, my boss.
Exactly, yeah. So I'm confident, you know, if things go well, that we'll have a great offer for you. And you know, if we could offer something in line with what we just discussed, would you be prepared to accept that and join us?
Yes.
Great. Okay. Just a little example for you guys. So, what you might have noticed in that little exercise is I was asking a lot of hypothetical questions, if-then questions, if you will. These are really, really useful questions to help you understand on which side of the fence somebody is. Okay? You might have even heard Lee giving a few answers where it was quite clear that he was not a direct yes or a direct no, so we had to go a little bit further and find out a little bit more. So that's where we get these array of different answers there. Obviously we're hoping that we get a yes great, or maybe we get a no as well. That's also pretty useful because we can save time. But often we might get something in between. So let's test you guys out on some of these, just a few of these little answers in between. What if you're trying to pre-close somebody and they say, well, it depends. Depends on what? Exactly. We need to dig a little bit deeper to find out. What if they say, yeah, sure. How would you react to that? Yes, exactly. We need to reconfirm that. It's sometimes not what someone says, it's how they say it, right? And that's when things can get a little bit tricky to read sometimes, but trust your gut, right? If they sound like they're on the fence still, call them out. Say, hey, look, you sound like you're still on the fence, you sound like you're a bit unsure. What's going on? What's the reason for that? I thought we were aligned, I thought we were in agreement. Tell me why, what's going on? This will really help you. So if we get anything that's not a yes or a no, it indicates there's fire, but there's smoke. There's no smoke without fire. And there's a potential objection there. There's a potential blocker that we need to uncover. We need to dig a little bit deeper and ask a few more questions. So one other concept that we actually try to get our recruitment consultants to do is actually find the no. Okay? Find at what point is the tipping point. At what point do they go from accepting that job and working in your team to saying, actually, no, I'm going to take something else? Okay, and this is a really useful process to get into, and will also help you manage the candidate's expectations a little bit and make them feel like there is still some work to do for them. It's a really useful practice to do. Okay, we don't want them to feel like they've got it in the bag right from the start. If there is a tipping point, we can make them feel like they're going to have to work that extra bit, go for it. All right, so we're going to do another practice session. So it's the same situation, it's the same candidates, but now I want you guys to pre-close. Try and get some commitments from Lee here.
Okay, so you can see the salaries are there. Also now we've added in some details with location for the new job. So what might you ask me before I throw the cue at you? How about in the back? Ready? I'm going to throw it. Oh, just.
Where is it here? Starting it completely over, right? So a new candidate, right?
Well, it's an extension on from what we were talking about before. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
But obviously, you have some more details now.
Okay, so hey, we talked about your application. If we offered you 45,000 euro a year, would you accept the offer?
Maybe.
Okay. How's that?
Oh, currently, 45 is not too bad. It's kind of obviously what was on the application. I am starting to look at some other options, and I actually have recently applied for another job as a credit control manager. and that's on a salary of 47,500 euros.
I see. So, what kind of an increase would you expect, for this role to accept it?
Well, I think for this role is that 45 is reasonably fair. But again, I'm more interested in being able to grow my career sometime fast.
Okay. So if we offer an additional increase within a 1 year period, additional 10%, would that be fine?
I'll definitely give it some strong consideration.
Okay.
Can I pass it over? Go on.
Sorry?
You pass it over to your colleague next to you. Someone's
Trying to see if she can.
Exactly.
Right, what do you mean? Are you sure that you will keep this, you will offer, will get this job that will give you the 10% per year?
I'm sorry?
Because you said that you will concern, if it will give you 10% per year, you will kind of concern that will get this job.
Oh, I'll consider it.
Consider it, right, okay.
Yeah.
But can you, okay, so can you be more clear what you mean consider?
Well, I'll weigh it up with the other options and all the other.
What kind of option do you have?
As I said, I applied for another senior credit manager role with a salary of 47,500.
Right, okay. I don't know.
It's okay, you can say.
Anyone else want to pitch in?
Right. We can maybe come back to salary a bit later, but what about the location? What would you ask about that? Because remember, I'm just about to start a family. Sorry? You asked that question? That's a good one.
Would you be more willing to consider this position if we offered you maybe 2 days of home office per week?
Ooh, that's a very good one.
Ooh, nice.
That would actually be quite attractive. Alright, and sorry, ask your question.
So how long does it take you at times to commute to work?
Right, so currently commuting 20 minutes
So
to get to work.
currently you commute for 20 minutes and then 45k per week, right? Or no,
No, I'm on 42.
42.
Yeah.
And then you said that you look for more development for the manageable with 47k.
Yep.
So what if we are going to offer you 45k with 20 minutes of economic service at the moment, with salary increase within a year, and then we can reconsider your higher position. Before that, we would need to kind of find out if you're the perfect fit for that role, and we can also assure you that there will be perfect training that will, help you out with the role.
Another position I would accept.
Great.
Yes. Shake hands.
Good job. So you've got his commitment there, which is perfect. Okay. So we're using these hypotheticals to make sure that we get the outcome that we want at the end of the day. Hopefully we can offer that, right? And if we can, happy days. Okay.
Right, next one. Alright, so we've got 11 minutes left. Actually, we've done pretty well. So, obviously, because we are a recruitment agency, is that we deal with this every single day. The good, the bad, and the ugly. So there was one case I came across recently where we had one candidate, current salary was on 85,000 euros, and the new job offer came in at 78,000 euros. Now, what the consultant failed to do is, again, pre-closing is not limited on to one thing. What they failed to do with the client was to pre-close and confirm the details of the new offer and come back to the candidate. Because the candidate's expectation was 78 plus bonus. The client came back and said, no, a 78 including bonus. On top of that, was the candidate had decided to accept the offer largely because the commuting time was much shorter than the other offers that person had actually had gone through. But the other issue, and the big one and important one, particularly if you are having to operate in a candidate-driven market, which means that there are lots of candidates and few jobs. You know, you're having to see a lot of candidates. You're having to compete, obviously, with any other company that they are looking to want to be employed by. Is you need to ensure, are they going through any other processes? Or in this particular case, have they recently in the past been in any other processes? Dave, for example, Dave went for a job interview a long time ago. 6 months later, they came back to him and said, well, hey, would you come and join us if we offer you something? What did you say, Dave? Yes. Yeah. Now, the same case for this particular person is that they had actually been in interviews and discussions with another company, which was like the perfect job, perfect company. I mean, you know, it's a place that the person really had huge desires to want to work with. And again, consultants failed to ask those questions to the candidates. And what happened is that while the candidates accepted our job, this great great company that the person wanted to work for, got in contact again. I said, hey, are you still interested in wanting to work with us? The person said, yeah. 1 week later, finished the interviews, accepted the job, dropped out. So obviously, applying these processes and techniques, that's how we kind of talked about today, it really does have, for us as an agency, real financial consequences. And for you, obviously, it helps to ensure that you get the right person coming through into your door. It helps you to narrow down the candidates that are going to want to work with you for a longer period of time. So again, when you make the effort of reading through the CVs, scheduling the interviews, hiring them, onboarding them, that there's a good chance they're going to stay longer than just 6 months. Hopefully they're going to stay maybe a few years. So again, hopefully you're taking something away from this today. Again, you can start applying in the interview process that you're going to work with, and helping you to ensure that you're also hiring the right person. And obviously, if you need help with that, you can contact us. We'll happy to work with you. So, next is selling time. This is probably also a concept that maybe you're familiar with, maybe you bring into your interview processes as well. And it's also, for me, a little bit linked with understanding the motivation and needs, is you need to be selling your company when you're interviewing. Yeah? You need to be selling why should the candidate want to work with you, but more so also with the company that you're representing. Yeah? And also look to see what, from the needs they've offered, does the company that you work for, can they help to provide that? If they can, sell it in. Sell it into them. It's going to help them also to make that decision process. Because again, if they're also in other interview processes in other companies, you're not doing it, but the competitor is, you're going to lose out. Especially if they're a really great candidate that you're really excited with, and so is everybody else, they're probably going to unfortunately go somewhere else. Yeah? So also start selling in as the reasons why somebody should work for you. Be realistic with it, obviously. Don't give them false hope. We've had some experience with that. It doesn't really work. People will leave quickly afterwards. But understand the benefits, understand the needs, work with it, work within the company, be able to present and sell out that. And again, also applying these techniques as well will really help you hopefully with your reducing your retention in the future. So what I also wanted to do, and while we were going to do some role play, but I think we're going to run out of time in 6 minutes, is I've been managing people on and off for about 20 years. So I thought it might be a good opportunity for me to share some other interview tips and tricks that I've learned over the years and I apply. Hopefully you do these. If you don't, then hopefully it's something new for you. First one is hire someone you're excited to work with. It sounds stupid, but our CEO and founder, he told me this a long time ago. And it took me probably a while to understand it, but it's something that I do now. Well, I've done for quite a few years now, and I also push my team members to do as well. The reason for it is if you're excited to work with someone, they're going to feel it. You know, they are going to feel the energy that you're kind of bringing to you, and that excitement. You know, they're really wanting to want to work with you, stay with you, be motivated for you. Again, you're going to put more effort into things like onboarding and training as well, because again, you really think there's some potential there. You know, if there's someone you sort of, again, weigh up your options. You know, you might want to take the opportunity to see more candidates if you have that luxury. Push your TA teams if you have internal ones to give you more. If you can't push them, again, can we use an agency? Can we use some, you know, what other means? You know, you might even want to start LinkedIn, doing your own searches. I mean, other people, but obviously, again, this is where agencies can help you quite a lot in trying to find better quality candidates. If again, no one's coming to you with someone that you are excited for. Consider the impact of the personality of your team. This is something I'm quite strong with. And again, when I'm hiring into my teams personally, I always give it my first thought. What do I want? What kind of person do I want to bring into the team on a personality level? You know? So for example, is that late last year, I had a couple of people leave my team. The atmosphere in mine and some of the surrounding teams, not quite as buoyant as it could be. I really needed someone with some personality. I really need someone who was open to want to have a conversation, talk, and motivate people, and maybe bring some social aspects into it. So I focused very, very much, also because they were junior roles as well, on hiring people who I could have a conversation with, friendly. You know, you could really see that they were excited for the job as well, but also they could actually bring and uplift the people around them. Also, you can think about the negative side of things again. If you think of, you know, also who do you not want in your team? What kind of personality trait is actually going to really be destructive to the team environment that you currently have? So also consider that as well. Okay, this is another one our founder and CEO spoke to me about a long time ago. If you're going to hire someone and you're going through the interview processes, again, you also see these, don't always just think about the role now. Think about, again, what skills they have, you know, personalities, you know, soft skills, experience, but what could they, how could they actually move forward into the organization? What else could they actually move into? If someone, you know, like the role that I was playing before, wants to progress into an organization, and you don't have that ability to be able to move them up, don't hire them. You know, they're going to leave. If you have that, always keep in the back of your mind through even the weekly meetings, appraisals, where do they want to go through to? Because actually some of the skills that Luke has just trained you today in terms of understanding motivations and needs doesn't stop when you actually hire them. You know? It's an ongoing thing because needs and motivations can change. So through those processes, again, you can find out, again, how can I keep that person for a longer period of time? If you're not, again, applying these techniques that Luke's teaching you, there is that risk, obviously, they're going to leave. Okay, involve your team members in the interviews. I do this because I'm lazy, but also they're working with them, not necessarily me all the time. Yeah, they're having a close relationship than I do. So it's not just about me being excited about the person, I also want my team to be excited by the person as well. Obviously, the benefit is it creates less work for you. Also, if those people that you're wanting to get in to have that interview have management aspirations, well, great, they're trained, isn't it? And it's free. Easy. Next one, spread out your interviews. Don't go back to back to back to back to back. You'll be exhausted by the end. Again, you want to have the energy to be able to have the interview consistently with everyone that you kind of see. And if you do have that kind of things, I mean, I've done it before, it's a massive mistake. It's just exhausting, and by the time I get to the last person, I'm probably not so interested in speaking to them at all. So try and spread it out if you can. And last one, because I've got 1 minute left, is get the candidate talking straight away. I always do this. I always ask them, what do you know about the company? What do you know about the position? Explain it through to me. It just helps to get them talking first, rather than me having to then speak for 5 minutes. When they're in silence, they're getting really, really nervous for the time they're finally going to speak. Get them talking straight away. It just helps to break it up. You can see what they're kind of dealing with. Again, do some icebreaker kind of questions just to take the nerves out, and it'll make for a much more interesting, hopefully enjoyable interview. So hopefully those are some nice little tips and tricks that, again, you can also bring in to your interviews as well. So we've got 10 seconds left. So timed it perfectly. So thank you, Luke and Camilla. If you have any questions, you can contact me. If you've got questions for Luke and Camilla as well, you can also contact me and I can put you in contact with them as well. But hopefully you've enjoyed the session today. Hopefully it's been educational, some free training from us. And again, if you want to be able to utilize our services, please be in contact. But thank you very much. Oh yeah, and vote for us. Done. Thank you guys. And thanks for participating as well. Hopefully you found it quite interactive and enjoyable as well, so I really appreciate that.